Today, I'm going to show you the next restaurant in Brookhaven. And make sure to stay until the end, because I'll even show you what it might look like. And before I show you what the next burger barn will look like, I'd like to show you the burger barn that still exists in Brookhaven. Before, the burger barn looked like this, and there. So guys, I'm in an old Brookhaven. And by the way, a lot of you have been asking me how I get the old Brookhaven. Well guys, back then, I had saved it guys. The Brookhaven maps, yes, I had saved them, and so I still have them, and I regularly save the Brookhaven maps, precisely to make videos like this, sometime later. And so, it's not accessible to the public at all by the way, which is really a shame. And here, look, we have the burger barn, right here, and honestly, it was really beautiful. It was one of the nicest restaurants in all of Brookhaven. I really liked it. I love this restaurant. It was really beautiful. Here, you could choose different burgers or fries, and a drink, of course, for the drinks. It was right here. There were different brands that exist in real life. And here, you could get your burger right there, or take it to go. And here, this was the kitchen. Simply put, for the employees, they could work and serve people directly at the drive-thru. Because yes, you could serve people at the drive-thru. Right here, we had the manager's office of the burger barn. And there was also a small room on the side. Here, for the restrooms, this restaurant was really beautiful. I already miss it. And of course, there was the drive-thru, like I mentioned to you earlier. So here, it was for charging electric vehicles, that's still there. And here, it was the drive-thru to pick up directly. Well, a hamburger in the car, that's it. It was a small restaurant. It was much smaller than the one we have today. But honestly, I loved that restaurant. And before, I'm going to show you what it could look like. Look like in the city of Brookhaven, in its new version. I hope you subscribed. And we're going straight back to Brookhaven in 2026. And I'm right back in 2026. In the Brookhaven that you all know. And by taking the huge Brookhaven football stadium. And I'm talking about the one that's part of the estate pass. This one, and you can clearly see there's the football stadium right here. And listen, it's over 700 Robux. It's one of the most expensive passes in the game. And inside, you'll have several snacks. Like here, for example. Or on the other side, you'll also have the word pizza. Yes, yes. It's the one that's in the Brookhaven Mall. It's exactly the same. Well, so it's the same brand. And if we go to the other side, you'll have the burger barn. Yes, of course, the same brand as what we had before. In Brookhaven, it's the burger barn that's right here, and the burger barn logo. It's a hamburger, and it's a hamburger. Exactly the same thing you have on the burger box. And look, when you take the burger box, you have the burger barn logo right here, and it's exactly the same logo. You can notice the difference. Well, there isn't any. It's the same thing. And I recently discovered something really important that I have to show you. And it's right here on the screen. And yes, look. I just paused at a really important moment in this video. And as you can see, right here, normally, we have things that are in the building. So already here, it's empty, even though it shouldn't be empty. And next to it, it's also empty. And yes, it shouldn't be. Especially since normally, we have some very important things in Brookhaven, like for example, the restaurant Le Brique, which is the only restaurant in Brookhaven that doesn't have a kitchen. And no, look, there's no kitchen, they serve dishes, but there's no kitchen in the back, so this restaurant has no business being in Brookhaven. It should really be a burger barn instead. Since we can leave this spot empty too, that makes sense in the video, because this place can be left empty. But for the place next door, it's not normal, because look, you can't leave it empty. You have the choice between the taco restaurant or nobody goes there. And yeah, I've never known anyone who roleplayed here. And what's really weird is that when you go into the inventory, look, you can't find the takeout box for the tacos, even though all the other boxes are here. That's the one from the previous broke dinner, and by the way, they removed the broke dinner sign above. Here, we still have the burger barn box with the burger barn logo, and there, the pizza box from Momo Pizza. But here you have the tacos box, which does exist, but it's not in the inventory at all, so that means they removed it from the inventory. So, they're going to remove this taco restaurant. It's going to disappear. But what's strange is that we still have the takeout box. From Burger Barn, that means they're probably going to replace this place with Burger Barn, because in the video, it's supposed to be empty. Well, I can understand this side, but I don't get this side, knowing that this place is absolutely useless. On Brookhaven, this one too. So I think they're going to redo everything. This place, even the Brookhaven post office, I think it's going to be redone. And honestly, it would be a really good thing if they completely redid the whole building, because honestly, it's a really old building. It hasn't been changed in a very long time. In Brookhaven, especially since right now, they're completely changing the city of Brookhaven. There are a lot of buildings that have been modified. Like for example here, the new Brookhaven dealership. There have been quite a few changes. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it will look like in a few weeks. Especially here. Look, I don't think this will stay. I think here, this won't stay, guys. It would be too weird if it stayed like this. Knowing that it's even smaller than before, we have less seating. And the worst part is when we put the Brookhaven bakery in. Look now at how it's really so small, whereas before, it was much bigger. And honestly, I think the restaurant that's here will stay, and that it won't become a Burger Barn. Well, I think so. But if I'm completely wrong and we can modify the building so that it turns into a Burger Barn, that would also be a really good thing. But in any case, what is certain is that when you watch the video right here, I invite you to watch it for yourself, because there are quite a few clues for the next updates. The first part of the video is interesting, as it's clear it was filmed later. Because look right here, you can see on the hospital roof that there's a helicopter, and that's part of the latest update. Yes, there's definitely the helicopter right here. So it's not a fake video, it's a real video, and it's really shocking. And look, in the video, you can also see a big burger right here. Could this mean the return of Burger Barn? But somewhere else in Brookhaven? So yeah, it's really shocking. Look again. You can clearly see that it's empty. So that means a lot of things are going to happen soon in Brookhaven. By the way, I wanted to show you something with a house. And look, if we place the restaurant house, and it's this house, you'll see that there's still a problem with this house. And look, the house has gone back to how it was before. Because yes, for a very long time, it stayed with the Christmas theme. But guys, I think they saw my video where I complained several times. So they put it back the way it was before. And look, they still left the Santa's workshop option right here. It's really weird that they left that, since we're not in the Christmas season at all anymore. But hey, luckily we can keep the pizzeria, and that's really cool. And the packages are the same as the pizza place. Alright guys, I'm going to show you what it could look like. I think everyone is waiting for this. I'm going to show you what it could look like. The Burger Barn in town. And for that, we're going to go right over there, and I'm going to show you a picture of what it could look like. Here we go. I'll show you right now. But before that, I hope you've subscribed to my channel. I hope you've done it, and that you've put the word burger in the comments. And here it is, my friends. What could it look like? Well, this is really in the best case scenario, yes, because it would take up a lot more space. It would be on 2 floors. Honestly, I would love to see a huge Burger Barn like that. In town. In Brookhaven, it would be super cool. But well, maybe I'm dreaming a little too much. Maybe I went a bit overboard. Because I created this image myself. It's not an official image, so maybe I'm just dreaming a little. But anyway, it could look like that. Maybe a bit smaller. Maybe even a bit bigger. Anyway guys, that's the idea I have of what the Burger Barn could look like in town on Brookhaven. And guys, there aren't many restaurants in Brookhaven, really not many at all. There's one right here. It's the chicken restaurant. In the mall, you'll only have 3 stands to get food from, and then you'll have one more. A really weird restaurant. Right here, there's not even a kitchen. Look, there's not a single kitchen. It's a restaurant without a kitchen. This restaurant is so weird. And next to it, you have a Mexican taco restaurant. But with all that, something's missing. Yes, what's missing is a burger place. A restaurant where you can eat burgers. Because if we go into the backpack and go a little further down into the food, well, you can see that you can get burgers to go. Just like this. So you can get burgers. You can even have a tray of burgers. And look, doesn't this tray of burgers remind you of something? Wait, I'll try to set it down and show you properly. Well, wait, why can't I? I can't seem to set it down. There we go. I managed to set it down. And doesn't this remind you of something? The fries like this. Red. with just the little fries sticking out of the burger like this. And yes, it reminds you of something very familiar. Yes, it makes you think of McDonald's. Of course, you can also eat the burger, but you can't pick up the fries when you press on it. But guys, do you remember that there's a collaboration between Brookhaven and a very famous brand? A brand, here, it's the Lego brand. And look, we had fries like this. Well, they're a bit big. And we also had a burger that's giant. It's huge, this burger. We also had Lego vehicles, and what's this? It's not the only brand that collaborated with Brookhaven. There was also a movie that collaborated with Brookhaven to have some really special vehicles. But also, there were plenty of other events we had on Brookhaven. And guys, is this restaurant going to stay in Brookhaven? Definitely? Honestly, I think there's going to be an event very soon where we'll be able to change the appearance of the restaurant. Because before it was a chicken restaurant, it was a burger restaurant. And look, don't the colors remind you of something? The red, the yellow, yes, it also reminds you of McDonald's. Except here it says Burger Barn, and guys, Burger Barn is over in Brookhaven. It will never come back. Well, that's what I think. But could there be a collaboration between a super famous brand and Brookhaven? Especially since that's happening a lot right now. And look at how it was, the Burger Barn. Honestly, I love the Burger Barn in Brookhaven. It was really my favorite restaurant here. That was the manager's office. But do you want to see what the old Burger Barn looked like before this one? Even though this one was really my favorite? Honestly, I really like this restaurant. I think a lot of you are saying the same thing in the comments. Because yes, the Burger Barn is really one of the most well-known things in Brookhaven. But before I show you what the McDonald's could look like in Brookhaven, take a look here. That was the old Burger Barn. And here, it really looks like a McDonald's in Brookhaven, just with the name Burger Barn changed. But honestly, it's almost the same thing. I really feel like I'm in a real McDonald's, in real life. And look at all the menus we had up there, right? But here, there are way too many. Look at everything we could choose from. Honestly, it's way too much, and I even think it's a picture of a real McDonald's. If you really look closely like this, I really feel like I'm seeing a real picture. It's shocking. Especially here, we had a collaboration with cars. So honestly, I really feel like here, it says Big Mac, that these are real McDonald's, real sandwiches from McDonald's. And the kitchen, it's really shocking. Look, there were even secrets here, plus employees. And there was even a secret right here. Plus, it's almost the same secret as the one we have today. In the chicken restaurant, look, it said Burger Barn on the fries. It's really shocking. Plus, it's the same tray as today. It hasn't changed. There's just no more Burger Barn written on it. And look, there was another restaurant. It was called Sonny's Restaurant. And that was a restaurant nobody knew about. Unless you knew Brookhaven in 2020. But honestly, I think there aren't many of you who knew it in 2020. And here, they served meat and chicken. And that was one of the very first restaurants in Brookhaven. So, did we have a kitchen? Careful, was there a kitchen or not? Not at all, there was no kitchen. Actually, it's almost the same as the Labrique restaurant we have today in Brookhaven. Except, honestly, it was much bigger, and I definitely prefer the Sonny's restaurant. And look, in the new restaurant today, we also have a secret, right here in the manager's office. Plus, you can see the burger band we just visited, which was right here. That's the Broke Dinner. I don't even need to tell you about it because they don't make burgers. They sold chicken and meat. So kind of like the Sonny's restaurant. And there's the burger band that we visited earlier. And look, we have a very similar secret. By passing right here, you can go up to the roof. And yeah, it's exactly the same secret as the one we have in the old Burger Barn. But here, look, we could just go right here, sit down, and watch TV. Honestly, it's really a great hiding spot, and we can even change the TV right here. But wait, look, that's even the old Brookhaven on the TV. That's the previous version of Brookhaven that we were in just a few minutes ago. And now, we can go out this way, and I'll show you what it could look like. If we turn this restaurant into a real McDonald's, you're really going to be shocked. By the way, with this restaurant, it's not just the restaurant we also have the food truck. And for that, you have to look for it. It's right here, and it's free. Everyone can use it. It's a food truck from the restaurant. So imagine how cool it would be to have a McDonald's version. Wouldn't that be awesome? Knowing that we already have food trucks in Brookhaven, look, we have the food truck right here. So you can directly sell ice cream, and yes, you can serve ice cream right here. Here, you can change it and sell hot dogs. So here you can sell hot dogs, and here you can sell some Mexican tacos, of course, and here you can sell donuts. And yes, there is no place in Brookhaven where you can buy donuts. Besides, this vehicle was updated very recently with the new version of Brookhaven chocolates. Before, it was a different version, the Brookhaven chocolates. It was a real brand that we knew in real life, and today they've replaced them with Brookhaven chocolates. And now, you can simply put a completely empty food truck and you can set it up yourself with props. So I can create my own food truck and, for example, make it red. I can go directly into the props. Then, I can go into the food category and add burgers right here. Look, I can put burgers like this in there. On the roof, I can put a burger that I make bigger. There you go. I make it a little bigger, so that's the maximum size. I can't make it any bigger, so it's really a bit of a shame that I can't make it larger than that. Even the tray, I can't make it bigger, but I'll still put it on the roof. And there you go. I have my special McDonald's food truck, even if it's not really realistic. Can I add some writing right here? Yes, I can add it. So here, I'm writing the name of my food truck directly, and there you go. Well, let's just say it's not really a success. But hey, it can give you an idea of what we could have with a food truck to sell burgers. And now, it's time for me to show you what it could look like if we replace this restaurant with a McDonald's version. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you that. But first, I hope you've subscribed and liked the video. And put the word burger in the comments. And here's what it could look like. Honestly, I really feel like I'm seeing the Burger Barn. But with a bunch of logos from the brand, it's really ridiculous. Honestly, I really like this version. I hope it will actually exist. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in this version too. And as you may have noticed, the city of Brookhaven is completely changing, especially with the arrival of the new dealership. Right here. And also, you can see that it's not part of the building on the right, which has completely changed. And yes, look right here. Don't you notice something strange? Look, now when you go into this building and upstairs, well, you have the Brookhaven ice cream shop, and you can even change it into a bakery, and look, it becomes the Brookhaven Bakery. But it's less beautiful and less detailed than before. Do you want to see what it looked like? And yes, look at what it looked like before. It was much bigger. And look, if I add the bakery, well here, I put it in abandoned mode. Because, for me, the city of Brookhaven is really starting to get old, especially the buildings that are right here. Well, I'm still going to put the original theme back. Yeah, because that was really crazy in apocalypse mode. There, it's much better like this. And here, look at the old Brookhaven Bakery. It was much bigger and much more detailed. We even had quite a lot of little things to eat here. And so, that was before. But look, there are still some things that have disappeared and that were still important. For example, here, well, the office for a lawyer. Well, as for the rest, honestly, that was for preparing parties. And here, it was a modeling agency. Well, it was just offices. Nothing important. Let's put it that way. But there is still something important that disappeared from Brookhaven and that might come back. And yes, just look right here. We had a breakfast restaurant, which was used a lot by some people who did role plays. Especially, a lot of people loved it precisely for the look of this restaurant, which was really beautiful. Because the other restaurant, well, there are a lot of people who don't like the theme. And honestly, I can understand that. Personally, I much prefer this restaurant. I find it much more beautiful. And on top of that, we have a real kitchen inside. And that's really super cool. It's a shame it was removed, since we had a real kitchen for role plays, which was great. Whereas in that restaurant, look, we don't have a kitchen. We have a restaurant, it's still beautiful, but there's no kitchen in the back. It was just cardboard, so it's really a shame. We have a restaurant where we can't even cook. But we didn't just have this restaurant here, we also had other things. For example, here, just a tanning salon. And here, for instance, you could simply tan in this place. And here, we had booths for UV tanning. And all of that is gone now, so it's really a shame. We had a good tanning salon that disappeared from Brookhaven. Even here, look, you could get UV rays while standing like this. And now all of that is gone from Brookhaven. But we also have one last thing. It was simply for having a birthday party, and that's gone too. Well, maybe that wasn't the most important thing, because you can recreate it with props pretty easily, but still, all of that is gone, so it's a bit of a shame. And now I'm back in the new Brookhaven. And if I show you the new restaurant, or the new auto shop, or even the new school, well, I'm not going to show you everything like that, because there are still a few examples, like for instance the new auto shop as well. So, do you notice anything different compared to before? It's the appearance of new logos and new brands. In Brookhaven there, it's Big Frank Motors. And here, we have the school with a lion. And you can find the logo just about everywhere. Or the new restaurant, right here, with its little logo. Actually, Brookhaven is creating a lot of new brands and new identities inside the game. And there's a place that hasn't really changed much in Brookhaven, where there's still a lot to be redone. It's all the buildings here. So for example, the post office right here, no logo, nothing at all. It's ugly. It's definitely going to be redone, 100%. And even the restaurant here, the brick, I think that's going to be redone too. Also, for example, the museum. And yes, the Brookhaven Museum, even though it's a place with a lot of secrets. But that's also going to be the case for the library, or, for example, just above some stores. By the way, the phone store was redone not long ago. Well, the only change is the phones. Yeah, because these are the new Brookhaven phone models. But for example, the Starbrook, look at the logo. It hasn't changed in years. And yeah, that's what it looks like. The logo is terrible. And I'd like to show you a photo that leaked recently about Brookhaven. And look at this. These are simply the new Starbrook outfits. They leaked a little while ago. It's actually been several months since they leaked, but that means they're still preparing the Starbrook redesign. So guys, we're going to have a new building here. So it's really interesting to know that the Starbrook is going to be redone. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it might look like, knowing that there are still quite a few other things to redo. But I think the rest, like the bank in here, the Rockstar store, won't change. I'd be surprised if it changes, since they were redone recently. Well, it's still been more than 2 years, but I think they'll change. Just not right away. I think the first one to change will be the Starbrook. And everything we have here, really, in this area. I really think all of this is going to be changed very soon. Because yeah, the city of Brookhaven is starting the biggest changes we've had in years. Look, I hadn't even noticed that we have a ladder right here to go up to the hospital roof. But that's really cool. Well, yeah, they're redoing some things, and I think that's really nice, right? But the number of flying vehicles on the buildings in Brookhaven is really shocking. It wasn't like this at all before. Look, even here, we have a new flying vehicle, even though it has nothing to do with it. And yeah, just look right there. It really has nothing to do with it. Why do we have a flying vehicle here? It's so weird. And look, did you see? We can even go up on the roof here. And there's even a little path like this. No, but I hadn't even noticed, so I feel like there are more and more things on the roofs of Brookhaven. So here at the police station, you can put a flying vehicle, even at the hospital, and even look at the fire station. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something, for example, on the roof on this side. And why not at Starbrook too? And be careful. I'm going to show you an image that's not official, but an image of what the next Starbrook in Brookhaven could look like. And guys, look, this is an image I created myself with some tools to show you what the next Starbrook in Brookhaven could look like. So, you can see that it would be 2 stories, and there would even be something on the roof of the Starbrook. Why not for ultra-fast delivery with, for example, either drones or a helicopter? That would be incredible if we had that, guys. We even have a small parking lot to park 2 cars. Because, yeah, people need to come. They need to park somewhere, and it would be really cool if we had that, guys. On Brookhaven, however, that would simply mean saying goodbye to 2 things. On Brookhaven, well, yeah, because for this kind of thing, you have to remove a few things on Brookhaven. And the thing that would be removed would be on this side, and it would simply be this building here. So, here, it's a Brookhaven shelter, so I think it's for people, well, who are in need. But I think that this kind of thing could be moved elsewhere. There wouldn't be any problem, I think. And the same goes here, guys, for the veterinarian. So, I think we could move them to another place. I think, well, it's still useful. it's still a place where you can do some really cool role plays. So, I can really see a building here where we could select, for example, what we want inside, kind of like what we already do on that side. So here, we select between the three what we want, and then we could do it with, well, a fourth one. For the dentist, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do that. And then we'd have a big Starbrook. That would be really cool, right? By the way, what do you think about the cars that are parked in front, that you can use, and that you can have just for yourself? Tell me what you think, because I think it's really a good idea that they set this up in Brookhaven, that we have buildings with vehicles in front of them. I think that's really cool. Other than that, there will be a lot of other things outside the city of Brookhaven, but I think that will come later. Right now, the developers are focused only on the city. And Team Keto, you probably know that right now, the Burger Barn doesn't exist anymore. And it's been replaced by a restaurant. And it's become a chicken restaurant. And that means the Burger Barn has completely disappeared from Brookhaven. And even today, it's impossible to get a burger unless you go into the inventory and get the tray with the burger. Because there isn't a single restaurant left that serves burgers and fries. By the way, if you go into the manager's office, you can see the first Burger Barn was here, then it became the Brood Dinner, and after that, it was the Burger Barn you all knew. And for those who don't remember, let's go back a little bit. I'll show you what the Burger Barn looked like, and look at what it looked like before it was the Burger Barn. And yes, this is the very first version of the Burger Barn in Brookhaven. It was right here, in place of the mall, and it looked like this. It's really beautiful. This restaurant, on the other hand, it's true that it was really big, but there wasn't much seating. Honestly, there were only 3 tables to eat at. That's really not much. Even though it's really big, what was actually really huge was the kitchen. Look at the size of the kitchen. And we also had the manager's office, right here, with employee files. And we even had a secret too. Look, we have a secret place. You can go through right here. By the way, it also refers to the secret we have today in Brookhaven, where you can go through the roof. So yes, you could go through the roof before, but also, even today. And that's really cool. Today, it's no longer Burger Barn, but a chicken restaurant, which I think looks a lot like the one we have now. And that was the very first version we had in 2020 on Brookhaven. But well, maybe it's not the Burger Barn you knew. You probably knew the Burger Barn I'm about to show you. But in the meantime, look. It had become the Brood Dinner. And yes, this tiny building where you could, of course, eat chicken. And yes, look, it's right here, the chicken here. Guys, it was simply to place orders at the drive-thru. So, it was right here, so the restaurant was really small. And look, there were 3 tables right here, and a 4th one outside. You could eat outside, right there. It was really nice. Anyway, I really like this Brook Dinner. There was also a room here. And it was simply the restroom, so we had the restroom right there. So honestly, it was a really small restaurant, but I really love this little restaurant, the Brook Dinner. But I don't know if it will ever come back. Honestly, I don't think it ever will. In Brookhaven, there are no clues. There's nothing left at all from the Brook Dinner. There you go. So here, we have the drive-thru, right here. And honestly, it was really tiny. And look at what Brookhaven used to look like before. It was really very different from today. But I already miss it. On top of that, it was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you wanted a burger, you just had to go to the Brookhaven Mall to get a burger directly. At Happy Burger? That's right. So before it was called Happy Burger, before it was called Burger Barn. And there, you can simply take the tray, right here, with the burger and fries, and the drink. And in the back, of course, we had the kitchen to make our own burgers, and also our own fries. And to eat, we had just 1 table here, and it was the only place where you could eat a burger on Brookhaven before the official arrival of Burger Barn. And you'll see right away, it was really beautiful. And yes, you probably knew this Burger Barn, and it was really magnificent. Honestly, I think this Burger Barn is really beautiful. So yes, it might come back, and I'll explain to you why it might return. Anyway, guys, I really like Burger Barn. It's honestly one of my favorite places in Brookhaven. So we could make fries here if we could make, what's going on? The bug I have is really weird. I'm not going to sit on the fries. It's honestly super strange. And not on the burger either. What's happening is so weird. And here, of course, we had the manager's office. And honestly, I already miss this Burger Barn. Look, Here, this was for the drive-thru, so we could hand out orders directly, and we had the restrooms right here. Well, it's not very interesting to show you this. I don't know why I'm showing it to you. And here, look, we had several tables. We had 4 tables inside for eating, plus one here, which is just a small counter. Here, you could help yourself to drinks directly. And also, look, the drinks were real ones like we have in real life, like Coca-Cola or Sprite. And outside, we had a table to eat in front of the restaurant. So that was the burger barn that everyone knew. And honestly, guys, I hope it will come back. I'll explain why. But did you know that some buildings in Brookhaven can be changed? For example, here at the taco restaurant Tacos, you just have to press here to turn it into a laundromat. Well, honestly, this has nothing to do with a taco restaurant. And it's the same with the small building next to it. It's a restaurant called La Brique, and you can change it into a museum, for example. You see, you can do it here, which is really cool. Someday, we might even have a secret button inside the restaurant, simply to modify the restaurant and turn it into Burger Barn. It would have the same structure, just a different theme. Here, it would be a chicken restaurant, but it could also become, for example, a restaurant with Asian food. Or, for example, a pizza restaurant, or a burger place. And that would be really great. The structure would stay the same, but we could simply change the restaurant's theme. Kind of like what we do with some buildings in Brookhaven. But that's already the case with the restaurant you can select. Here, it's still just a Christmas-themed building. I don't know why they haven't updated it. It's been a really long time since Christmas now. And here, we can change it. For example, into a pizzeria. Look, so now it becomes a pizzeria and the structure still stays the same. Or a bakery, for example. Here, it's simply a bakery. There you go. But the structure stays the same. And here, it's totally possible that the restaurant we had not long ago in Brookhaven could turn into Burger Barn. And it makes total sense because look, in the inventory, they still left the burger. So we have the tray, we have the burger to go, but we also have the burger right here. And all of that is still in the inventory. Knowing that there isn't any restaurant that sells them unless Burger Barn still exists somewhere. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. And before I show you, I hope you're subscribed to my channel and that you've liked the video. And that way, I'll offer you no, actually, I won't offer you a burger. I'm just going to eat it myself. And Burger Barn still exists. So, you just need to go and get a property. And now, select the football stadium. And now, inside the football stadium, Burger Barn still exists. Come with me. I'll show you something. So, on this side, you'll simply have several stands. Here, you have the merch. And here you have a pizza restaurant. There you go. So here, it's Momo Pizza, the same as the one in the mall. Look, here, it's Momo Pizza too. And on the other side, look what we have here. Here, we have some snacks. But most importantly, we have the Burger Barn, which is here and still exists. And it's right here. But you don't have a tray. And that's why I think the Burger Barn will exist very soon, once again, in Brookhaven. Because here, you don't have the burger tray. You just have the burger that's being prepared. You can't even select one or even pick one up. So that's why I really think the Burger Barn is really going to come back. Because here, it still says Burger Barn, even if we can't pick up, well, simply any burger. It's impossible. You can't click anywhere. It won't give you a burger. So that's why the Burger Barn will soon reappear in Brookhaven. Anyway, Team Keto, if you agree with me, let me know in the comments. And if you don't agree with me, well, let me know too. And know that today, the only restaurant, let's say the biggest restaurant that still exists in Brookhaven, is the new restaurant. The chicken restaurant here. That you love? I think everyone loves this restaurant. But know that before, there was a restaurant that few people knew about. So, I hope you're among the people who knew this restaurant. Let me know in the comments. And it's the Broke Diner. And yes, right here, before we had this restaurant, and even before we had the burger restaurant, we had a pretty classic restaurant, but a lot of people loved it, in Brookhaven. And yes, it was the Broke Diner. And there was even a drive-thru to pick up your order. And yes, you could do exactly the same things as today, except it was much smaller. And to give you some context, we're going to take a look at what the Broke Diner looked like, because I'm sure a lot of people have forgotten what it looked like. Alright, let's go back in time, and now, take a look at what the Broke Diner looked like. So up until now, it was labeled as the Brook Diner. Outside, there was a table with chairs so you could eat outside. And that's really awesome. So it's kind of like what we have today, but with just one table and that's it. But the new thing was that it was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, if you wanted to close it, you just had to press here, and you could close the Broke Diner. Anyway, inside, there were only 3 tables, so it was a really small place to eat. So, I hope the next version of the Broke Diner will be much bigger. Well, normally, it should have the same structure as the current one with the chicken restaurant, and I really love the Broke Diner. Anyway, it's really one of my favorite restaurants. You could eat there directly, so yeah, hot dogs, or otherwise a dish with meat. And of course, all the drinks we know, like Coca-Cola, Sprite, and the last drink that's just over there. I can't read it from here. If you can read it, let me know in the comments. And there, look, we had the drive-thru, so we could serve people directly in their cars. And that's really nice. In any case, it was the first restaurant in Brookhaven to offer this option. With the player's face and everything, it was really cool. So here, a small fridge with just Coke inside. And of course, we had restrooms. Because yeah, the customers who came to Brook Diner needed to be able to use the restroom. But otherwise, it was really a very small building. Nothing else. It was really tiny, but it's one of your favorite restaurants in all of Brookhaven. Because honestly, there aren't many restaurants nowadays. And if I go back not too long ago, look, there was a restaurant right here that disappeared from Brookhaven. And yes, it's the breakfast restaurant. That's the one that completely disappeared from Brookhaven. So it's impossible to come have breakfast here. Yet, it was really so cool. Look, they used to serve apple cakes right here. There were also waffles. And there, of course, you could cook inside. So, it worked well. But be careful not to set it too high. Because look, you could, well, simply set the restaurant on fire. So, it's not a good idea. But in any case, it worked perfectly. And that was really cool. Look, you can do quite a lot of things in this restaurant. Which unfortunately, no, what's happening? No, this is nonsense. Unfortunately, it has closed permanently in Brookhaven, so it's really too bad. Imagine if we had this restaurant instead of the Broke Diner. It truly wasn't long ago. Before I show you what the Broke Diner could become, just know that if it does come back, guys, I think Burger Barn will be there too. But for that, I already made a video about it. And know that if it happens, it would use the same structure as the current building. Just so you know, only the appearance and the restaurant's theme will change, but it will be exactly the same structure. That means here, you'll have your tables and chairs to eat. And here, of course, you'll have some merch. Just to have, for example, I don't know, a pin in honor of the Broke Diner. Here, games for kids. And of course, don't forget the restrooms. There were restrooms at the Broke Diner, so there will be some here too. Of course, you'll have the whole kitchen, but adapted to the Broke Diner's style. Meaning, for example, hot dogs or meat. It'll be a bit different from chicken, and we can get it here. And yes, everything will change. Everything inside. And actually, you'll just have to select the restaurant you want. Because look, we'll have a choice between these 3 themes. Namely, the Burger Barn, the Broke Diner that we see right here. And here, it's another Burger Barn. But I've already told you about that. Look, we can see the number of nuggets live, but there are a lot of people cooking right now. It's really amazing. In any case, what's certain is that if we go into the inventory, then into food, well, there's still the Broke Diner package. And yes, that belongs to the Broke Diner. But something has changed about it. Before, it used to say Broke Diner on the black surface. Here, by the way, when we go into the interface, we see there's still some text on it. But when we pick up the item, there's no text. So guys, there was a recent change to it, but anyway, just know that it definitely belongs to the Broke Diner. Same thing for this. It belongs to Burger Barn. In fact, that's even the Burger Barn logo on it. And yes, the burger here is the Burger Barn logo. Well, you know the pizzas, they're still available at the mall. And look, we still have food from breakfast. And yes, you know, the restaurant I showed you just before. Now there's a dealership instead of the restaurant, but the restaurant food, is still in the inventory. And yes, you can still get apples, cakes, that doesn't change. But we don't have the restaurant anymore. It's completely gone from Brookhaven, so that's starting to be a lot of restaurants disappearing. There, you can't find this little restaurant anymore. And now, we have this restaurant. there's only one other left that still exists in Brookhaven. But there's no kitchen. And yes, look, it's the restaurant Le Brique, which is right here. And look, it's the only restaurant there is, and there's no kitchen. Look, it's really super sad. Well, do you want to see what it's going to look like? The next Broke Diner? I'll show you that right now. Look, it's true that there's a restaurant here. I forgot to show it to you. It's Los Panchos, and it's a taco restaurant. Well, it's really very small. There are only 2 tables. There are a total of 6 seats to sit down, so it's really a tiny restaurant. But this time, we have a small kitchen in the back. So yeah, we still have a restaurant here. But for how much longer? Well, just know that it still says Los Panchos on the package, so that hasn't changed. But for how much longer? That's the question I'm asking myself. Because, well, we still have the package with Brook Diner written on it here. But it doesn't say Brook Diner anymore. There you go. So, we see it in the inventory, but we don't see it when we hold it in our hand. And the food, of course, that was served at Brook Diner, we still have it. For example, the hot dogs, or the meat dish, which still exists. And I hope you're ready to see what the Brook Diner will look like. I really have to show you this. But just before that, I hope you subscribe to my channel. I really hope you did. Did you subscribe? Did you like? That's the question I'm asking myself. And if you did, you can write the word restaurant in the comments. That way, I'll see who's subscribed and who isn't. And I'll show you right now what it could look like. And just to be clear, this isn't an official image. It's a picture I imagined myself to show you what it could look like. And look at what it could look like. So, it would have exactly the same structure as the current building. Except this time, it would have the brood dinner theme. It's incredible. It's exactly the same as the brood dinner we saw just before, but much bigger. And of course, it makes you want to. It really makes you want to work at the brood dinner. In any case, I really hope they'll do this update. It would be incredible. Well, everyone is waiting for it. Everyone is also waiting for the return of the Burger Barn. I know that the Brood Dinner is an old building that not many people have experienced. And if you have experienced it, let me know right away in the comments. So yeah, if you have experienced it, let me know, okay? I'm counting on you, since it's one of the oldest buildings in Brookhaven. But in the meantime, I also hope that the Brood Dinner will come back. And the Burger Barn too. That would be really, really cool. Anyway, Team Keto. Don't hesitate to like and to subscribe and to watch other videos.
Oh.